Today I'm in the wood yard. I've got a problem. My oak is selling fast. I'm gonna run out. Here's how I'm gonna fix it. So everything in the bin behind me is white oak. It goes down to there. You can see this pile is disappearing fast. And then this pile right here, this bin here, this is red oak, and that's disappearing fast. And I have already emptied out 2 bins of oak that were full of oak, and it's gone. I'll show you the other bins that I've been emptying. Because we have so many people that want oak, which it's the #1 selling wood, and as you know, it's good wood, but a lot of people want it. So this was a bin here, and there was about 15 full cords right here. That's what these pallets are from. So that's all that's left, is some kindling there and some small chunks. So this was all a bin. Over here, this was all red oak. There was probably 20 full cords in here. It was a lot of wood. And that's pretty much gone. I'm down to remnants. I mean, I probably could get a 1/3 of a cord out of that. And then I've got some oak down over here in this bin down at the end here. This is red oak. This I do have left yet. So it's going fast, like I said. So this right here is all red oak. And then this big bin way over here is all white oak. But it wasn't split too long ago. This stuff here was split, oh geez, back in, boy, I want to say, like August, September, something like that. So I'm gonna have to do some moisture testing on this. This might be right. This is pretty much all white oak. There's some red in here. So this is the last stuff I want to sell. And I'm gonna have to pull some pieces out, some of these big ones like this, and I'll split them and check them and see what they are on the inside. Some of them might be ready to go. I'll check it out. So my oak's selling fast. And here is how I'm going to keep my people happy. I've got to order right now. It's for a reorder from someone who orders 2 full cords a year. Now she gets 2/3 of a cord at a time, but she orders 3 times a year. She's got a small stove in her living room that she heats that part of the house with. And she already had 1 order delivered, and we stacked that probably a little over a month ago. And she said she's already almost out because it's been cold. And people are burning more wood this year than they had all of last year. And she says, hey, I want to get another load of wood. I said, that's great. I've got wood and I can bring you some. I said, however, my oak is getting low and I can bring you a 1/3 of a cord of oak and a 1/3 of a cord of maple. Will that work for you? I said, the hard maple is everybody's as good as oak. And I think you're going to like it because she's never had hard maple before. She just always gets oak. And she said, yeah, that's fine. So what I'm getting at is that when you get low on one particular product that you have and you want to extend it a little bit more just to keep people happy, don't sell it off till it's all gone. Sell smaller amounts and just say, hey, I can give you a 1/3 of a cord. I got someone else that wants some of the other stuff. And you do have other people that are going to want the other stuff. It's going to sell. Would it be okay if I bring you half of this or a 1/3 of that, or however you want to do it? But don't be afraid to tell people that you've got other things available. And I've done this lots of times over the years. And what I have found happens, the vast majority of those people had no clue that the other wood was good. And they're like, oh, that was awesome. Bring me more of that. I had one guy in particular, I still have him. He's still a good customer. He always got oak, always oak, oak, oak. And I said, hey, I've got some locust. He said, well, what's that? I said, well, locust is a tree that's actually has more BTUs in it than oak. I said oak has 23, 24 million BTUs per full cord. I said locust is like 27. So I said it's like 10%, 15% more heat out of it. I said, do you want to try some? He says, well, I suppose, because he ordered a full cord. I said, well, let's do a 2/3 of oak and 1/3 of locust. Well, he got that locust. He called me up like 2 or 3 days later. He said, hey, you got any more of that locust? I said, yeah, I probably have another half of a full cord. He says, can I have it? He said, that was the best wood I've ever had. And he had no idea what it was because not everybody knows every kind of wood there is. And honestly, when I first started doing firewood with my dad, cutting wood for him for heating our house, it didn't matter. If it was a tree that was down or dead or dying or in the way, we cut it down and burned it. It didn't matter what it was. We burned everything from white pine to aspen or poplar to box elder on the low end, all the way up to oak, white oak, red oak, hickory. We had some locust once in a while. We had a variety of things, and we burned it all because it didn't matter. And what we would do, what a lot of you do, and I've heard this from a lot of times, is that the lower grade wood, the stuff that doesn't put out as much heat, you put that in during the daytime. or in the early part of the burning season, or at the end of the burning season when it's not extremely cold. But when it's extremely cold, you put the good stuff in. And so there you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to scrounge and see if I can get a third of a cord of this red oak into the trailer, and then we're going to go back right up. We're going to go over to this hard maple down on this end over here, and we're going to throw in a third of a cord of hard maple. We're going to go deliver it. She just had surgery, so I'm going to be stacking this for her. She always pays me to stack. She usually helps me and pays me, so it's a good deal. But I told her, I said, I'll stack it all for her, because she was concerned that she couldn't help, because she had someone coming. I said, don't worry. I said, I'll get it for you. And then after that, we got one more delivery, and this guy insists on oak. So I'm going to give him some red oak and some white oak. We're going to do a little bit of everything for him. So time to start chucking. There it is, 2/3 of a cord, mostly red oak. I would say it's probably 3/4 red oak and then a little bit of hard maple I put in there, so should be good. Some of you that are new to the channel might be asking, how do I know how much wood is in there? The answer is, I don't know. But I do know that it's more than 2/3 of a full cord. Because if I was to have this level, it would be 2/3 of a cord. And there's a slight crest to it, so I just throw extra in. The reason they do that is that I am a highly skilled professional, and I've done this thousands of times with stacked face cords, thirds of a cord, full cords, and I know how much my measuring cup holds, because I get this on the channel at least once or twice a day. You gotta stack the wood to know how much there is. I do this all the time. I've been doing it for decades. I know how much wood I have. It's more than 2/3. I don't have to stack it. It dries better loose like this. I throw it in loose. I always have more wood delivered than what they're paying for. I always over deliver. I was getting a couple armfuls. It's not always a lot. Rare that it's the exact amount. It's never less, but it's rare that it's the exact. Usually there's a little extra. And you know what? Everybody likes a little extra. All right, we're gonna go down the road and do a little delivery. Not a dump, it's a tip and stack. That's what this one is. Here we go. All right, so the next delivery is loaded. It's a third of a cord, a face cord, a Ricker roll, and it is mostly white oak, but there was quite a bit of red oak in there I threw in. And this is going to a guy that usually gets 2, sometimes 3 loads a year, always a third of a cord at a time, which is what most of my customers get. A lot of the people I sell to are not heating with wood. They're filling a rack that holds a third of a cord, 8 feet long, 4 feet high. And when they get it full, they think they got all the wood in the world, and it lasts them half a year. Sometimes some people last a full year, but a lot of people will go through, on average, 2.5 is what my average is. So not quite a full cord on average, if I average all my customers out, because I have some people that will get 4 or 5 full cords, and there's other people that get 1 face cord every other year. So you average it out, and that's about what it comes out to. So that's where this is going. And this is a guy that always wants oak. He's only ever wanted oak. That's all he ever asked for, and that's fine. Now, he contacted me 2 days ago and said, hey, can I get some wood before the weekend? And I said, absolutely. I can bring it today, which was 2 days from when he contacted me. I said, I can bring it. He says, okay, how about 2 o'clock? I said, how about, he said, anytime after 2 o'clock. I said, how about more like 3 o'clock? I said, I've got some other deliveries. And he said, that's fine. Now, I'm going to contact him again now and say, I'm about a half hour ahead of schedule, and tell him, I've got your wood loaded up. I'm a little ahead of schedule. I'm coming right now. And that way he knows I'm coming. I know his wife is home all the time, so they're always there. But I do contact people always before I leave to let them know I'm on my way, because I don't want to get down the road and have them not be there. I don't want to get there and have nobody there. So I want them to know I'm coming. Today's the day we agreed on. I contacted him last night and said I'll be there tomorrow after 3 o'clock. Well, it's 2:30 right now, so I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. Anyway, that's the scoop. Contact them, let them know I'm coming, and we're gonna go do this one. Now this one I back, they got like a circle driveway. They live in a town where it's along the lake shore, and it's nice houses. And I gotta go around a loop, and then I gotta back in around the loop and get into the garage, and I tip it so it's close where they're gonna stack it. I can't tip it all the way in the garage, but I get on the edge, and I do that a lot with the baby dumper, the little trailer here. Because it's the same footprint as the truck, I can go pretty much anywhere with it. And I prefer delivering with this because it's just really nice. It's handy on the small loads. But if I got a big load, if I'm doing, you know, a full cord and a third or 2 full cords where I fill up the truck and the trailer, the big trailer, then obviously that's nice because I do one big dump, which works out really good. But a lot of these small deliveries, it is a third of a cord. It's real common. And my brother Ken says all the time, he says, that must just suck having to do those thirds of a cord. I said, no, not really, because he gets $70 or $80 for a third of a cord, and I get 120. I said, I'd rather take the extra money and deliver lots of them. There's a lot of days where I'll deliver 5, 6, 7 thirds of a cord in a row when I'm real busy. It just happens. But again, a lot of the people do get 2 at a time, which is this full. Right now there's just 1/3 in here, but if I do it full, it's 2/3. And if somebody wants a full cord, I put that in my big trailer and I have that so it's in between the 2 boards I have on there. If someone wants a full cord and a third, I fill it all the way full. If someone wants 5 face cords or a full cord and 2/3, I throw it in and then stack it in the trailer. If somebody wants 2 full cords, I stack it in the trailer and then fill my truck, and I can deliver up to 2 full cords at a time. Someday it'll be nice to get a bigger trailer where I can just throw it all in loose and not have to worry about stacking it, because stacking the trailers takes a long time. It's such a waste of time. There's no need for it when you know how much your container, your measuring cup holds, and I know. All right, down the road we go.